Hi class. Today I will be refuting the claim my opponent made, which was that overpopulation in the United States is detrimental to the quality of life. Just as a reminder, according to the Federation for American Immigration Reform, national overpopulation simply means the population of the country in excess of the ability of available resources to sustain it without degrading the environment. The three claims my opponent made were that with an increase in population, there is a high demand for housing, but there is a lack of space available. 2, because not everyone is able to afford increase in prices, they are forced into being homeless. And 3, the percentage of land reserved for agriculture in the U.S. has declined greatly due to residential development. The first claim I will be refuting is with an increase in population, there is a high demand for housing, but a lack of space. According to pros and cons of overpopulation, this is allowing people to continue to live their life as they would. Being in a confined space is not stopping people from living their everyday lives. Space does not constitute the way you live. Having smaller space just makes it a little less accessible for you to have your own personal space. If you think about it, having a smaller house with your family will allow you to have a closer bond with them. Space is just a small roadblock, but nothing major. Overpopulation just means that families are living longer, having children, and chasing their dreams. All of these are things that are not harming the U.S. We should want to have a growing and prospering country so that way we continue to create for the world to come. My second claim I will be refuting is not everyone is able to afford the increase in prices because they are forced into being homeless. My opponent did not provide enough evidence for this fact, therefore needless to say there is various options when it comes to not being able to handle the cost of your home. Volunteers of America work to prevent and end homelessness through different support services, including eviction prevention, emergency services, transitional housing, and permanent affordable housing. There is always hope for people when they reach rock bottom. As long as people seek assistance, they will be able to overcome the barrier of becoming homeless. My last claim I will be refuting is the percentage of land reserved for agriculture in the U.S. has declined greatly due to residential development. According to pros and cons of overpopulations, we could make the world a better place with overpopulation. The United Nations estimates that 25% of the world's agricultural land is dedicated to livestock pasture. By being forced to look at alternative food options, we could literally make the world a better place because we'd be more efficient at what we do. To conclude, I will restate the claim that I was refuting, which was that overpopulation in the United States is detrimental to the quality of life. The three claims my opponent made were with an increase in population, there is a high demand for housing, but a lack of space available. 2, because not everyone is able to afford the increase in prices, they are being forced into homelessness. And 3, the percentage of land reserved for agriculture in the U.S. has declined greatly due to residential development.
Well, organizationally, it's easy to follow. The points on the individual sections, though, are a little bit thin. On the first point concerning the cost, you say that people, can live in all kinds of circumstances, that the crowding isn't a big deal. I don't remember that the advocate was mostly talking about density issues as much as they were availability of separate housing. Maybe people want to live in a collective kind of environment, so you get 15 people in a 3-bedroom apartment. That I guess that's something that's useful, but you basically suggest that there's no harm that occurs from that. But I'm not sure that that undermines the notion that people have difficulty finding space. It just doesn't seem like it's quite as responsive. You're trying to diminish part of the claim that there's a negative consequence to that, but not necessarily denying the issue that this in fact results because of the thing that the advocate's talking about. Well, there are all kinds of other arguments that could be made on that issue. I'm not going to go there right now because everybody's looking at the clock ready to go. The second point suggests that people can get assistance on housing, and I think that that's an okay argument to make. In fact, it might be the best argument to make if you could show, for instance, that there are government programs that are made available, that there are creative ways that people get housed, that it has little to do with the number of people and everything to do with the amount of money that the people who are applying for have available. That would suggest that the cause of the problem is not the population itself, but the income of those people in that particular population, which is, an alternate causality from what the advocate's talking about, and I think changes the way that you're going to be talking about this issue. And then the land issue, it sounds like your solution to the problem is that we all stop eating certain kinds of foods and start eating other kinds of foods which are going to be less land intense. That's perhaps a long-term solution to a problem. It diminishes the significance of the argument, but I don't know how significant the argument was in the first place. Was there any evidence that suggested that we were suffering as a consequence of decreased availability of this agricultural land? I don't know. You don't really challenge that. There's not really much challenge to the advocate's evidence and reasoning. There are a few counterclaims that you're presenting, and some of those counterclaims do engage the advocate's argument, but not always directly. All right, thank you.